Okay, it's a rare occasion that I jump on an invitation to review something that one of you guys has. In fact, I try not to, for a lot of good reasons. I won't go into them. But generally I say thanks, but no thanks. I don't want to go through the process. I did make an exception for this knife. TNP Patreon member James White, what's up James, contacted me and he goes, hey dude, I've got a Gerber Bowie knife. Do you want to test it? I told him, you had me at Gerber. I didn't really know they made a big Bowie knife. Did you? Here it is. Check it. That's James's knife right there. It's called a Gerber Utility Bowie knife. I think this is model 5978, made in 1989. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, so I jumped at it. I was like, yeah, send it to me. I want to test that. I want to test it. I want to check it out. I didn't even know they made a Bowie knife of that size. I'm always learning. I tell you that. They made a stag variation, apparently, model 5970. They made a wood-handled version, 5980. I have never seen those in person. This is the only one I've ever seen in person. And let me tell you, I really enjoyed testing this. And I'll tell you why, too. It ties into something else. Really cool. It's going to be a cool tie-in. I think you guys will like it. It's going to be a super fun KRV. Got this from James. Thanks again, James, for sending it. I'm going to ship it back to you ASAP. I did sign it for you. I got this knife. I was like, well, I got to find a new place to test knives. And so, as I often do, I jumped on the motorcycle and I went scouting. And I don't tell you guys about this, but I do it a lot. I'm always looking for shooting places, different places to test knives, to camp, to do adventures. I want something scenic that looks good on camera, that's remote, that I don't have to listen to people. It's hard. It's hard to find. And I'll tell you, on the 690, KTM 690 Enduro R, dude, I found the perfect desert testing place. I was so stoked. I made a video on it, but I only had the GoPro, and of course the audio turned out to be crap. So I don't think I'll ever post that. It's just embarrassing. But in the video, I'm like, this is so epic. I've looked for this place for 10 years, blah, blah, blah. This is perfect. And this was one of the knives I had brought with me on the motorcycle. And I thought the testing location was fitting to the special Gerber Bowie knife with some others. I had some other big blades. You'll see those reviews coming out. Oh my goodness. A great knife. And I found a great testing location with a lot of dead wood. Really scenic, really remote. It takes me about 2 hours of just dirt riding to get there. Worth it though, worth it. And of that group of knives, I won't say it was the best, but it ranked probably in the top 3 for performance. This Gerber Bowie knife. Also called, I believe, the Australian Bowie knife. And yeah, I didn't know about it either. Like I say, I'm always learning. I really love testing this knife. And I'm going to show you that cheesy GoPro footage as we go here. I'll put it in inset or an overlay or something like that. I think the video setting was jacked up, so I don't know how good it'll be. But you'll get the picture. Did a lot of chopping with this thing. As you can see, wear and tear on your blade, James. Yeah, I like it too. I love it when a blade just shows natural wear and tear and it shows that it's been out in the wilderness doing its job. So I did hacking. I did a little bit of prying with it. I didn't want to bend its tip. I can bend pretty much every knife if I really put it in the right test. I can probably break every knife if I really want to, but that's not what I'm trying to do. What I was trying to do with that is to take a fighting knife, which is pretty much a fighting knife, right? And then put it in a wilderness philosophy of use. And I've reviewed some other big blades through the years here in the knife show that have that same approach. And I really am attracted to blades like that because they're not single purpose. They're multi-purpose. And I think the Gerber Bowie knife is the same way. This is a fighting knife that can be a wilderness knife, and I don't think it really gives up much in any of those POUs. Cool, huh? And I've reviewed some other knives like it, and you're going to see some old school ones coming on table here, competitive offerings, and you might have them in mind already by looking at this knife. And they're equally as fabulous. But I was super, super stoked to see this knife do so well on that testing. I will say that it wasn't a winter test. A real test in my book to find out how it does is I should take it to very cold, snowy temperatures, see if it's going to rust, see if the steel becomes more brittle, does it have any stress fractures that will be revealed in cold weather batoning. I didn't do any of that because, again, it's summertime and the location didn't really lend itself to that. And I forgot my saw, so I didn't really baton with it. I just did a lot of chopping, some shavings, stuff like that. You'll see it in inset once again. It did fantastic. If you ever go out and buy yourself a Gerber Bowie knife, utility Bowie, you're going to be set for pretty much anything, says me. If you can take the weight. I mean, it's not a super lightweight knife. I'll weigh it right here on camera just for the heck of it. It's 5/16 inch thick, flat ground. The steel, by the way, as far as I know, is 425M. So it's a 420 stainless steel. I really, honestly, wasn't expecting much going out there. I was like, oh, 420 series? Is it going to chip? Is it going to hold an edge? I'll say it did fantastic. Look at the edge, dudes. I had other knives that day chip out on me. And this did really, really good. This 1980s formulation 425M. Knife itself, as you can see, is 17.7 ounces. And then this is a sheath. Basic nylon sheath. And it weighs nothing. So this is a really lightweight package for a long blade as it is. There you go. There's your total weight. 1 pound, 5 ounces. That's a really good weight. I mean, a fantastic weight given its size and its performance capabilities. This one has a 9.5 inch blade, again 5/16 inch thick. Oh my gosh, stainless steel too. So I've tested some carbon steel blades that have the same profile, and I really like carbon steel as a wilderness knife. You do have to take care of it. It's high maintenance, but it just performs so well, and it just seems, I don't know, pretty easy to sharpen and very shock resistant and chip resistant as I go into the dirt, which I always do when I'm batoning. I bet you if I would have batoned with this thing and gone into the desert dirt where it's rocky and you got embedded rock, I probably would have chipped it, to be completely honest. The stainless steels will chip more than the carbon steels in my experience. I'm not the ultimate expert in that. I'm just saying what I've learned over the years here in TMP. That being said, I love a stainless knife, because sometimes it is in a high moisture environment, snow, slush, rain, that I need this big blade. And I just find myself with the carbon steel blades, I'm spraying them all the time with WD-40. I put them in a sheath, I spray them off. Spray them off. Let's look at the handle. It's a coffin shaped handle on the Australian Bowie. Got a lanyard hole. It's a little bit thin for 550 cordage. I could have hollowed some 550 out and thread it through. I just didn't do it, if I remember correctly. I just said, what the heck. Now, the coffin handle is made of Kraton, I believe, so it's a rubber. It is comfortable. It's not ultimately comfortable for wilderness use because it's not really intended, I think, as a wilderness knife when they came out with it. I think it's a modern interpretation of an Old West Bowie with a modern blade design as well. Full flat ground, so we have some modern elements in this grind. But they went with kind of an older school handle, which I like. I think it's cool. It's also first cool in that it's practical. Provides good traction. I didn't notice it hurting my hand. It's long enough, so we've got real estate here. A really nice handle, actually, and yet we still have that Old West theme going on here. And then we have a brass guard here, really thick, matte brass, super cool. Thematically, the knife looks very cool. I mean, it's got stainless steel, so matte stainless steel, matte brass, black, matte brass. I like the looks of the blade, just as a second cool thing. And I do love the matte finishing on it. Let's look at the Tang Stamping here, Portland, Oregon. Now, there has been some question of where these were made exactly. I will go with the United States, but it's possible they were made in another location. I'm not super sure. It is stamped, as you can see, Portland, Oregon. Nowadays, can you go out and buy a Gerber Bowie knife? They are around, but they're not cheap. I think you're going to spend around $300 subject to change, but there's not a lot of them. I mean, I went to eBay looking, didn't see any. I saw some on the secondary sites. Really depends. I think James said he spent like $2 something for this. That's like a no-brainer. If you find it for $200 and you want to add the limited edition, apparently, Gerber Bowie knife, I say rock on. Now, like I said, it did so well in testing. I'm chopping with it, I'm hacking with it. And the funny thing is, I'm going with this knife and I'm swinging it. And then I started thinking, I was like, oh, I know why I love this knife so much. It's because, and you may have been thinking this the whole time I'm doing this KRV, right? It's because it's basically a cold steel Trailmaster. There's my original Trailmaster, a cast member. Once again, you see why I have cast members. So we can see an actual comparison against these two knives. And the Trailmaster has been made for a very long time, since the 1980s as well. So what came first, the Gerber Bowie or the Trailmaster? I don't really know. If you had to press me and say, hey, you know, which one do you think came first? I think the Trailmaster did. And then maybe Gerber said, hey, we really like that Trailmaster. Let's do a rip-off on it, which happens all the time. And they came out with theirs. I'm just guessing, though. I don't really know. Don't pin me down on that. There are some differences, obviously, between the two knives. I mean, you can see this has more of a clip on it. The Gerber does. It has an unsharpened swedge on it. The edge, once again, out of box was fantastic. I think even after all the testing I did on it, it's really good. I've thumped the heck out of this one. This is a carbon steel Trailmaster dating from the early 2000s. I don't remember, I think it's SK5, but I'm not positive on that. And so it has a different presentation on the clip, right? So it has a kind of an angular, unsharpened swedge, so less Old Westish and more modern on the Trailmaster, and I think it's fabulous. This one I've resharpened, I backed the approach angle up. A lot of similarity between the blades. A slight difference in thickness. Believe it or not, the Gerber is slightly thicker. 5/16 of an inch thick, 1/4 inch thick on the Trailmasters. And I think the Trailmasters being made to this day have the same thickness. Do I care? Not really. I think 1/4 inch is like a really thick blade. For a wilderness knife, I'll take it. Especially if it's flat ground, I'll take it. Differences in the handle, of course. Same material. So we got the Craton, right? Modern handle right here, just simple. There's no hot spots. This is one of the big things I've always loved about the Recon Scout and the Trailmaster series. A really perfect handle. In terms of first cool, I much prefer this handle. I do. It has better traction. We don't have any of the angularity to deal with. Big lanyard hole. As you can see, I have a 550 cord going through there. The guard is basic in this version of Trailmaster. There's no fancy brass here. I don't really care though, because this is a worker knife. But getting back to testing the Gerber Bowie, that's why I love it so much, because it's basically a Trailmaster in performance. I'm hacking with it, I'm shaving with it, and I go, wow, this is a Trailmaster. And I love the Trailmaster. I like the reach of a Trailmaster. I like its swing. I like its balance. I like it, like I said, the handle, fantastic. Let me show you another variation of Trailmaster, which is also fantastic. I don't know if you've seen this one on camera before, and I don't have any wear on it yet. Here comes a Sanmai 3 Trailmaster from cold steel. Oh, that is cool. Maybe we should compare this one against a Gerber Bowie knife, because it's stainless Bowie against stainless Bowie. This steel, by the way, is far superior to that one. Yeah, Sanmai is decent steel. I've tested it in some other knives like the SRK, and it's just fabulous. Basic knife though, stainless steel guard in this variation, stainless steel eyelet. It's a worker knife. Here's the sheath on the cold steel. Basic, lightweight, and the weights are going to be very similar between these two knives. They really are very similar. So I absolutely love the Gerber Bowie. I like the Coffin Handle, like I said. Incidentally, here's the sheath to my other Trailmaster right here. Red Hill Kydex in .080 Kydex, I believe. Just flat desert earth is the coloration I went with. Check out the fit on this, dudes. Oh, that's a cool sheath, Nuttin. I know. I made this, I don't know, about 10 years ago? Or had it made for me. Real easy attachment. Here's a sheath, by the way, on the Bowie in detail. Like I said, it's basic. The Gerber Bowie. I've seen it in pictures. So you turn it back and it has like Alice clips on it. Really old school, kind of military attachment system. Awesome though. Pretty cool. So here we go. Now, like I said, I think this is made in the United States. The rumor I read is that some of them were made by Fox Knives in Italy. I really don't know. I will still go with United States production. Yeah, hopefully I'm right. Now, there is a risk for me reviewing this knife. You know what it is. You may want one to put it in your collection, but they are hard to find. Again, long out of production. So sorry. Here's my advice, dudes. Seriously, get a Trailmaster. It's basically the same knife. And again, I would not be surprised if the Gerber designer looked at the Trailmaster to design this knife. I'm not really sure. But they're basically the same knife in terms of first cool. Now, in the Gerber Bowie knife, 1989 version, I think, here on the table, we got the coffin-shaped handle, we got the brass guard. Throwbacks to an Old West Bowie, more clip again. Nice cool elements to an Old West, more traditional Bowie knife. This to me is a modern Bowie knife, right? A worker knife, a fighter, a wilderness blade, but I love the Trailmaster. I love these both. They're basically the same knife in terms of first cool. I could not tell them apart. Now, like I said, I start batoning with this one. It gets into the dirt. I start chipping the blade out, and I find the limitations of the 425 steel. Different story. I didn't take it to that level, like I said. Get one of these. Or maybe not the Sanmai 3, because this is a pricey knife. This is a big chunk of Sanmai laminated steel. Maybe get a carbon steel Trailmaster. And I know for a fact, a lot of TMPers bought this off my review many years ago, and I hope you never sold it, and I hope you have some wear and tear on yours. Maybe an SK5 steel, whatever carbon steel they're making in it. It's a great knife. Now, it's gotten even better looking at the Cold Steel catalog, albeit it's going to be much more expensive. It won't be, you know, this SK5 version, which I think I spent like, I'm going off memory, it's like around $100. Like a long time ago. I mean, what a steal, right? Speaking of steals, they're now making it in, drumroll, A2. Yes, an A2 steel. Dude, I love A2. It's a great wilderness steel. It holds an edge. A little bit high maintenance, like I talked about. It is a tool steel. It will rust like crazy, but it holds a great edge. Very, very resistant to chipping. I've learned to love it using it out in the woods, out in the mountains. You'll see a box next to that one, that one, that one, and that one. That means I want them. I know, I just want them. A2 Combat Classics, Recon Scout, Laredo Bowie. There is a Trailmaster. And by the way, I was probably wrong. It is 5/16 inch thick, at least the current versions. I thought mine was a 1/4 inch, but whatever. 5/16 with these productions. And then the Natchez Bowie. Something wicked this way comes. I love the Natchez Bowie. Heck, for that matter, I'll take these too. These are awesome. If you have a hankering for a Gerber Bowie and you can't find one, get one of these right here. I'll put links below if I can find them. I don't even know if they're in production, how readily available they'll be. They may be hard to find, and they're going to be much more expensive since they are in A2, but they're cool. And these will be limited production. Is my forecast on these. I think Cold Steel will come out with a batch. The production run will be over, and you'll see the prices on all these knives go way up, because they're the fabulous, tried and proven designs in a perfect, well, for a lot of rolls, a perfect steel. There you go. And if money's tight, just get a carbon steel Trailmaster. Highly recommended. But getting back to the Gerber Bowie, dude, James, thanks for sending it to me. I'm going to ship it back to you. Signed. I'll put a toy or two in there for you as well. I would never sell this knife if I were you, James. I think the price on this one will go way up. Super collectible. I don't know why Gerber dropped it from their line. It might be because it just didn't sell that well. I mean, there's a lot of people that don't like big knives. But I've always been a huge fan, as you know, and I would really welcome Gerber coming out with this knife once again if they did. Nothing fancy. Thanks a lot.